Hello and welcome to the April 13th, 2014 market overview. This is Mark with quantumforex.com. Email mark@quantumforex.com. And we have a pretty decent week setting up here. Last week there just was, some of you might realize you did not get a market overview video. I kept waiting for some things to move and set up, and that's actually going to be kind of how I do things from here on out, is if there's not any setups at all come Saturday, Sunday from the close of the week, I'll wait a day or two. And truthfully, there was just the only thing we even sent out an alert on was the US yen for a buy, and that failed. So there just wasn't much last week. However, when you have a bad week of no setups or tweaked patterns, you tend to get the following week where you have some things start setting up, and that's what we see this week. So fairly excited about this week for potential reversal zones, and let's take a look at that, starting with the Aussie. And it's kind of how the way my charts are right now is how they ended up the week, what I was looking at. So I'll clear things off as I need to, but it gives you a chance to see what I deal with on my charts. So according to the primary trading system we teach our intermediate course, here we have an impulse leg down. I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3 setup off of this. Now technically, let me zoom in here, Tad. Okay, you can see I pulled a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom. Down here is 0, up here is 100. And technically on our intermediate course we say that maximum somewhere between a 38% and a 61 to qualify this this A leg. We look for an A, B, and then we look to take the C leg, or if it turns into a wave 3, we're looking for a 0.1, 0.2, and a 0.3 setup. We call it a 1, 2, 3 setup. We need a break of trend line, and we need a move, impulse move. Can't be a retracement move. It has to be an impulse. We have to see some longer candles, not just little short ones like all of these, just going sideways and drifting up. We need to see some impulse. We need some wave counts in here. Now I can count wave 1 and 2, wave 3, 4, and 5 possibly. So I call this, I'm counting this wave 1, wave 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's one wave. That's one way to count this wave 1, 2, 3, waiting for a wave 4 pullback, and then a wave 5 up. That's potential. Or we could have wave 1, 2, wave 3, ABC in here, wave 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So coming into our end of our 5th wave would be 1, 2, 3, 4, extended 5 wave. If this was wave 1 and 2, you can see wave 3 is longer than wave 1, but not as long as wave 5, so that qualifies. At any rate, whether this is pretty clearly coming into wave 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little retrace and a move back up, so this would either be wave 5 or wave 3, depending how you count it. But at any rate, you'd expect a retracement around the 78%. Now I'm going to show you what that's going to look like, larger time frame. But notice also that the daily R2 and R3 from Friday, those very likely will change, come in Sunday afternoon. But they're right around that 78%. So we can go ahead and put a box in there and say that that is a target reversal zone. And I would actually expect that. Overall, a lot of times when you hit 78% on a wave, the initial impulse wave up, you'll also retrace to a 78. Probably about 50% of the time that you get a retracement, it will hit the 78. So my buy target off of that is a 78, and if I short in this area, my last take profit is going to be the 78. Okay, this is on the daily chart. Let me pull out to the weekly here. As you can see, our little software here has shown us that this is a bullish bat. I don't know how accurate that is. Let's pull out. I don't really take software's word for everything. I like to measure things. And actually, if you were to, this is the Aussie USD now. We pierced and we almost hit the 61.8, and we nailed the 78. So that's not a technically that's not a bearish or a bullish bat. We'd have to hit the 50, which we could surmise this did a 50. We'd have to hit the 88 to be perfect, but clearly there was a strong impulse off of the 78. I would not expect this to drop farther, not that it won't, but I'm not going to, currently we can't trade it that way. So what we're looking for is we broke trend line, we impulsed up, we're looking for an ABC retrace, and ultimately that's going to be our buy. So I'm expecting after we top out at the 78 up here that we'd be looking for a bearish move the rest of the week. So we might be bullish through into Monday, let's say, and then I'd look for bearish after that. On the 4 hour, well, let's look at the daily. Daily, we're topped out on stocks. Weekly, we're still headed up, which actually, if we get an ABC retrace and then turn around and go bullish, that will help top out our weekly. 4 hour, we're already topped out. 1 hour, we topped out up here, and we do have a nice divergence on this. So we've done, it looks like we've done an ABC. We've broken this, so this cannot be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because we've clearly pierced price wave 1, wave 1, 2, 3. We've pierced it, so this is wave A, B, C. So now we're looking for a 5-wave move up and tap out in this area. Great opportunity for a buy if we get up there. Now, don't try to predict this too much. I'm not really expecting, or I would not suggest a buy up into that area, but if we get up there, I would have suggested a buy. If we were to drop back down to this support level, about 92.37, or I'm sorry, 92.93, just above the weekly pivot, you can see how nice that support level is. I would also look to buy there. On the 4 hour, you can see that nice support level. If we get down there, by all means, that's around the 62 EMA. Definitely look for a buy and ride that then up into where we have our mark, and that's about 200 some pips. So that could be a very nice buy, and that would probably be most of the pippage you're going to get out of the Aussie USD this week if we drop. Now, if we just move straight up, then we're going to get most of our pippage this week on a short, and I'd be looking to be very watchful around that monthly pivot for a strong bounce, or even the weekly if we go up here first. Okay, enough on the Aussie USD. Those of you that have been with me for a while are going to follow all that. Those who aren't, going to have to listen to that part again. Now let's look at the pound, and then we're going to take a look at the pound Aussie, because we know that if we have some setups on the pound and we have some directional on the Aussie, then we got a good idea of what the pound Aussie might do, because it's a combination of the two. And if we can get the pound and the Aussie, typically they go the same direction because the USD is the secondary pair. If we can get the pound and the Aussie going opposite directions, and they're actually technically set up to do so, then we can get some great pippage on the pound Aussie. And that's how you play these cross currency pairs. Pound USD. I am looking for one more move up on this pound USD. And you can see we're just kind of been doing some consolidation, but notice this ABC right in here. So if I have an ABC and I've moved up beyond the top of wave A, then that can't be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cannot be. So what we've got going here is that it appears that this is wave A, B, C, and now we're doing 5 waves up. So that being the case, at least the expected case, look at what we've got going here. Let me get rid of this little deal. Right at this S3, current S3, that's support 3, and an EMA 62 on the 4 hour, we've got a nice support. Could be wave 1, 2, wave 3 moving up, wave 4 retrace, which means we could go zigzag, move back up and then back down. That would be a good buy if we get there. That's the only trade I see right here in any kind of a buy, is if we get down to the support level and we reject off of it, then we're looking good. Now, I like a short later, and I don't like a short now, because look what we have going on here. We've topped out on stocks, and we just don't have much in the way of divergence. I mean, just kind of double peaked here before we hit our high. We just don't have a lot in divergence. Okay, but if we break above again, look how steep the divergence would be. divergence on the stocks and the momentum. So I like a thought of a bounce off of this support level and a move back up into the current R3 would be nice. Now let's do a Fibbo measurement. If this indeed is the top of wave 3 and this is the beginning of wave 3 here, then look how that 127% is right at the R3. So again, I can go ahead, and this is just how you're setting up your charts for the week. What am I looking for here? Wrong area. Insert. Shape. Okay, this is how we just set up. So we have these on our charts so that we've already done our analysis, and when the price gets nearing our boxes, then we can begin to look at some technicals on lower time frames and see if we can qualify an entry. So if we were to drop down to this area, 200 pips. So if we get a rejection candle, we could easily get a 25 to 30 pip stop loss, have a 1 to 5 to 1 to 7 risk reward. If we actually bounce right off this area, we could even come down to below the monthly, which would be a very good stop loss, and pull a 1 to 7 or 1 to 3 risk reward into this area. So very nice potentials there. Like I said, this week there is some really nice potentials, and that's just how it goes. You can have a week or two of nothing, and that's where you just have to say to yourself, there's nothing. You know, go play racquetball, go for a hike in the woods, go do something. And then when these things hit, sometimes they hit, and it is possible to get 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% in 1 week. It happens. But you have to be patient, and you have to recognize when there just aren't any setups. Don't get frustrated, just walk away. And then when there are setups, go ahead and take advantage. Now let's go to we're going to do pound Aussie, but let's take a quick peek here. I'm moving along fast, trying to keep this under 20 minutes, and I am going to meet that goal today. So the gold. Let's go out to a daily. Okay, we have this move up and a move down. Okay, and this is a head and shoulder setup. You can see the left shoulder. You can see the head here. The anticipation is that this is the right shoulder. Now, you may or may not want to take a trade just off of that. I don't use any software to just take my trades. I use different softwares at this point just to give me a heads up. What I don't like about our move up here is that we have zero. We are down on our stochastics, but we have zero, very little divergence at the bottom. We are at this monthly, weekly pivot right here, and let's go down to the 4 hour, and you can see we've got divergence, and we're sitting right in this area. I'm not so interested in a short, but what I am interested in seeing is that we've got this trend line break. Again, back to our intermediate course, we have this trend line break, very similar to the Aussie, and if we come all the way to the top and move down, we're sitting right at the 38. So anywhere between the 38 and the 61, if we get now this pullback down into this area, back down into say a 78, that's a great opportunity to buy. And look at our divergence on the bottom. Nice divergence, and this is on the 4 hour. Like I said, the daily, there's not a lot of divergence there. But we do have it on 4 hour. So for this to be a 4 hour play, wave A, wave B, wave C, up into possibly 78, 88%. If we pull back at the 38, pull back down, and then move up, we'd be looking for an 88, which would give us a bearish bat at that point. So we are looking for an aggressive move, impulse right around in the 78 if we pull back anywhere between the 38 and the 68. And there might be a short for some of you that like to play the smaller time frames. Okay, pound Aussie. Daily. Notice at the daily right here, I've got the EMA 200 that we're coming down into at the support level 2, and notice how we're just about at the top of our previous support, and also please notice that the 61.8 is right around that EMA 200. When the EMAs line up with Fibonacci levels and they line up with stochastic oversold, overbought, I pay attention to that. And so what I've done is highlighted this. I've seen that area, And so now I've dropped down to a 4 hour, and actually down to the 1 hour. And I've noticed that we looks like we did an ABC back up into what could be looks like maybe a bearish bat up into the 88. So pierced a little bit over the 50, not by much. Did find some support, moved up, and we found at the weekly pivot, this would have been a good short. The 88% comes in at the weekly pivot, and we double top. That would have been a good short last week if somebody was paying attention to that. And there was a good 100 plus pips off of that. And there was also at that weekly pivot, yeah, you could have gotten in with a 35 pip stop, including spread, 27 plus spread, and 120 pip movement, 1 to 3 risk reward. In fact, you would have been going for more than that, because typically these kind of setups will move below the 0% down here. So what we're going to do is turn around and reverse this and say if we pull from swing low to swing high, that's where we get this 127, 138%. So I'd be looking to buy around there down to the 161, 178. And so I'd actually put another box in that area. And let's see how that looks on the larger time frame. We'll move up to the daily, or the daily again, and you can see both those boxes are right into that EMA 200. So I'd really look for that support level S2 1.7637 to be where I look to buy. And then of course our take profit on that is beautiful, all the way up. That's 1657 pips. That's actually, we want to go above this for a minimum. That's how you'd pull that. This would be our minimum projection of this area right up in here. So definitely I am looking for a buy. I'd like to get in on this one. And that total is about close to 2,000 pips if we can buy off of that area. So definitely be looking for that pound Aussie. Okay, US, let's see, where do we want to go from here? US Canadian, something there. It's we've broken this trend line. I've been eyeballing this. We're coming back up, retracing back up into the weekly. However, look at our stocks are oversold, but we don't have divergence. So I'm looking for a drop, one more drop down, either to this support level or this support level, which ideally that looks like it's going to come into an EMA 62. I'm sorry, 200, and stretching on the stocks on the 4 hour to hit that 95. So somewhere up in here, it's quite possible we would. We do have divergence down here, so I can even see wave A, B, and a C retrace, maybe back up to the monthly. It appears we have a wave 1, 2, 3 symmetrical triangle for wave 4, or well, actually that's more of a descending, isn't it? Yeah, I'd call that a descending triangle. And we're about running out of time here, but I could justify this as a descending triangle like so, and the weekly pivot being the horizontal, and then that would be wave 4, because symmetrical triangles or descendings, they typically happen either in wave B or wave 4. I don't think this is wave B, because I can see wave 1, 2, 3, wave 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm expecting on this a move up, move back, maybe down to the daily, and actually these pivots are set up pretty nicely. They could be our wave A, wave B pullback, wave C extension. So be watching for that on the Canadian. Nice opportunity probably on the hourly charts. Look how we've got divergence. Stochastics is overbought. Maybe a pull up into the weekly R3, pull back. I'd look to buy then. Look at the divergence down in here, and then move back up possibly into the monthly pivot. If you were able to buy the daily back up to the monthly, that's about 180 pips. Okay, there is more to talk about on the US yen. No time right now, except for to say I expect a little more of a drop down into about 101.17, and then I'm looking for a buy out of that to possibly resume our move up. Looks like we'll double bottom possibly. I would look for a buy again around that EMA 200 or around 101 17 is where I'm looking for currently. Okay, that's going to do it for today. Keeps us under 20 minutes. God bless. And make sure to send me an email, mark@quantumforex.com, if you have any comments or questions. Have a good day.